Trump is live again? Oh my God, he's crazy. Oh, he's doing the RFK Jr. flex now. Okay, nice. Nothing works. RFK is actually breaking the broadcast, it seems. Holy what is happening? RFK has bricked the broadcast. What is going on? What is happening?
It's going to be a real honor for me.
Oh, there it is. Cheryl Hines is right there too.
The oath of office and officially become.
What is going on?
It's going to be.
Oh, they're rewinding the tape. Is there another feed? The RFK's alien brainworms are bricking the broadcast. It's over. Satan. RFK Jr.'s broken containment. This is not a drill. Oh, yeah, it's over. As far as like, will denuclearization happen? Of course not. Don't be ridiculous. I'm not saying that it will happen, but if you're going to talk about it in theory, okay, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that countries having world-ending weapons at their inside of their arsenal is a good thing. It's not. It is one of the most dangerous aspects of modern society. Okay? Don't let these people turn around and lie to you and make it seem like everybody having nukes is a good thing. Restart player by closing tab and reopening it. I don't think it's the player that's busted. I think it's the broadcast that's busted, chatter. Everyone else is having the same issue. What is the chat saying? DEI, Elon, fix it. Someone needs to be fired over this. This take goes against the Hasanabi doctrine. Yes, the Hasanabi doctrine is a totally separate conversation. Okay? If we're having a theoretical conversation about denuclearization, which is if we're having a realistic conversation, is never going to happen. But if we're having a theoretical conversation about denuclearization, yes, of course I'm in support of it. There's a difference between what is the reality and what is theoretically better. Oh, it's working now. Never mind, it's still not working. Thoughts on all the anti-woke leftists on X? I don't know who the anti-woke leftists are.
Kennedy Jr. take the oath of office and officially become our Secretary of Health and Human Services. Just as I promised last year, Bobby is going to lead a great national mission to make America healthy again, and he's going to do it. I think he's going to do things that will really make us very proud of this day. Like his father, Senator Robert F. Kennedy, and his uncle, President John F. Kennedy, Bobby has devoted much of his life to serving his fellow Americans in his campaign for president, and he was a very tough competitor. I did not like it at all. I said, let's get him on my side. But in his campaign for president in 2024, Bobby brought together a coalition of supporters across party lines, and he really worked very hard, and he had tremendous support, unbelievable support. And I think a lot of that support came my way when we decided to do a little merger. And It was really great, and it was very loyal, incredible people. They believe in him so strongly because he's a fierce advocate for the health of our children and for the values of free speech, democracy, and peace. And people are going to be very impressed, I have no doubt. I've known him a long time. He's been a friend of mine a long time. Perhaps most importantly, though, Bobby created a nationwide movement made up of millions and millions of mothers and fathers and young people and concerned citizens of every background who want to end and this horrible chronic disease crisis that exists in America. He's absolutely committed to getting dangerous chemicals out of our environment and out of our food supply and getting the American people the facts and the answers that we deserve. After years in which our public health system has squandered the trust of our citizens, and they really have. They don't trust us. They don't trust anybody, frankly. They've gone through hell. There's no better person to lead our campaign of historic reforms and restore faith in American health care. And Bobby's going to do it. The United States spends more money in health than any other country on earth, but we're growing sicker every year. We're not as healthy as countries that spend just a fraction of what we spend, so there's something wrong. He's going to figure it out. In recent decades, we've seen staggering increases in cancer rates across all age demographics, including more than 40% increase in childhood cancer since 1975. Who can believe that? And an explosion in other chronic childhood illnesses. Not long ago, 1 in 10,000 people, children, had autism. Now it's 1 in 36. Think of that. 1 in 10,000. 1 in 10,000. Now it's 1 in 36. Who can believe that? There's something wrong. There's something wrong. And I think it's something that can be found out. In 2022, more than 40% of children had at least one chronic health condition, and today nearly 80% of young adults do not qualify for military service, in large part for health reasons. Think of that, 80%. Something is wrong, and that's why immediately after Bobby is sworn in, I will be signing an executive order establishing the President's Commission to make America healthy again. We have some great people on that commission. Chaired by our new secretary, this groundbreaking commission will be charged with investigating what is causing the decades-long increase in chronic illness, reporting its findings, and delivering an action plan to the American people. And it's going to be a plan that people are really waiting to hear. Bobby, I want to thank you. You've gone through a lot. It's taken great courage.
Yes, autism increasing
you're gonna be okay.
is not because of
And he
vaccines
said, I know,
or the proliferation of vaccines. Autism
been
increasing is a
supported amazingly
diagnosis
by Cheryl and his family.
increase.
And
That's
it.
it.
Was very tough. It was a very nasty group of people that
That's
were
it.
after
It's
him,
just that
but he was
diagnosis
tougher
has
and
gotten
he was
better.
smarter than they
Or
are.
Twitch streamers
That's why
in
he's
general.
taken
Twitch
it.
streamers have
People
increased
that
autism.
understood the assault, but he was able to. So I just want to congratulate you, and we have a very special person here to swear you in, a man that I think has done I think he's just an amazing man.
It's also the same reason why it's mostly prominent in boys in general, or at least initially from the 90s onward. It was mostly prominent, seemingly only increased in boys. Why didn't it increase in women? Perhaps it has something to do with the social dynamic of a lot of the social conditioning that women go through, young girls go through, that make it harder to diagnose autism in women. Maybe that's the reason. Because it's not like women are getting vaccinated at a lower rate than men. You know? That's what's so stupid about it. It's because medical research around women is still, as a direct consequence of patriarchal constructs, significantly behind. That's it.
Okay, it's good so far. Good. It's a 10.
It's just a theory, though? What do you mean it's just a theory? What could it... There's nothing that, like, young men are experiencing that is, like, significantly different than young women. In terms of, like, vaccines, do you think that women are just not getting vaccinated? No, most of this stuff is just the same as the left-handedness argument, okay? whether it's being gay, whether it's like more queer people exist now in society. What's that about? Or there's more autism in American society. What's that about? Like virtually all of that is almost identical to the left-handedness argument. There's just a bunch of people who were left-handed normally, okay, and they were forced into writing and using their right hands. And once we stopped punishing people for doing that, there was a number of people that were left-handed, and it just stopped after a certain percentage. Yeah. The autism spectrum disorder is a vast criteria of different kinds of neurodivergencies that was put under the same umbrella and also had significantly better ways of diagnosis, especially since the 90s, which then led to a massive number of boys becoming autistic. Why are they becoming autistic? I've worked with boys with autism specifically, okay? And I can tell you, their parents were definitely autistic. The only difference was their parents were not diagnosed with autism. Okay? That's it. They just weren't diagnosed. The notion that there is a ginormous disparity. Yeah, some might say I still work with a lot of men with autism now, but the notion that there is this gigantic disparity between men catching autism versus women catching autism immediately undermines the vaccination argument. Okay? That's it. Like a lot of your parents have, some of you who are autistic have immediate family members that suspiciously have lifelike model trains, okay? They have an entire room dedicated to model trains, and that doesn't even ring any alarm bells in your mind about an autism diagnosis for your uncle, okay? Or for your dad. What the fuck do you think is going on? Yeah, that boy is autistic as hell, okay? The only difference is he grew up in the 60s, 70s, 80s where he wasn't diagnosed. Oh, no, you don't understand. He's just quirky. He just quirked up. He's just got his, key interests. Oh, yeah, okay.
Who was president and where we talked about the environment. He was involved deeply, as we all know, in restoring physical fitness in this country. He challenged at one point during his administration, he challenged Americans to do a 50-mile walk, which I ultimately did.
Have you ever seen a severe case of autism like nonverbal? Yes,
his walk,
I have. And yes, the parents weren't nonverbal.
Up at Camp David, and my father came in after 18 hours walking on the towpath with his feet bleeding and blisters on them. My father had one of his best friends was Al Lowenstein. And Al Lowenstein ultimately was a congressman from New York who was assassinated.
Me and my wife actually got invited to do a study about genetics and autism because both of our kids are diagnosed autistic. I got pretty high on that test too. Yeah.
Get rid of President Johnson and end the Vietnam War. And at the time that he started it, people just thought it was a fool's errand. And ultimately, he asked my father to run for president against Johnson. My father wouldn't do it at that time, and he asked Gene McCarthy. McCarthy did it, and he joined that campaign. And my father ultimately ran, and Johnson then dropped out. So Al Lowenstein succeeded. And although Al Lowenstein was on the other side now, running against my father with Gene McCarthy, my father wrote him a note, a quote from Emerson, where he said, if a single man plant himself firmly on his own ideal and there abide, the whole wide world will come around to him. For 20 years, I've gotten up every morning on my knees and prayed that God would put me in a position where I can end the childhood chronic disease epidemic in this country. On August 23rd of last year, God sent me President Trump. All right. And he gave me... He's now given me, he's kept every promise that he's made to me. He's kept his word in every account and gone way beyond it. I'm so grateful to you, Mr. President. A lot of people told me that I couldn't trust President Trump, that I better get it in writing. And we did a handshake, and everything that he told me he was going to do, he has done. Right. And I'm so grateful to him, and I've told you before, I genuinely believe that you are a pivotal historical figure, and you are going to transform this country at a time when we see all of the indicia of democracy now in tatters in our country. We see the rise of the military-industrial complex, the rise of totalitarianism, these attacks on our Constitution, and this breathtaking epidemic that is disabling our people. President Trump has promised to restore the American dream in this country. A healthy person has 1,000 dreams. A sick person only has one. 60% of our population has only one dream, that they get better. President Trump has promised that he's going to restore America's strength. But we can't be a strong nation if we have a weak citizenry.
I love that this man is the beacon of health, okay? I need you to understand what you're seeing right now, this man on screen, okay? This man right here, that's the beacon of health.
We need a man on a white.
Do you understand me?
We need
He's the healthiest boy that has ever existed.
And has the spine and the guts and the strength.
The reason why he looks like a rotisserie chicken that has been left out for too long is part of the reason why he's so healthy. It's the drugs that he took.
President Trump has shown again and again that he is that hero. And most recently, I greatly appreciate, and I called you the day that you announced the termination of USAID. My uncle started USAID in 1961 for humanitarian purposes, to put our country on the side of the poor. It has been captured by the military-industrial complex. It has become a sinister propagator of totalitarianism and war across the globe. And very few people understand how sinister this agency really is. And President Trump saw that, and he stood up to it with a masterstroke. And we want to do the same thing with the institutions that are stealing the health of our children. We need a revolutionary figure, and you are that figure. And
yeah,
I'm very grateful
that's right.
for
The revolutionary figure of Donald Trump.
I want to recognize some of the allies that I've had in this battle for a long time. Senator Rand Paul, Senator Ron Johnson, Senator Roger Marshall, Marjorie Taylor Greene,
Thank God.
and Buddy Carter, who've all been champions of the MAHA agenda before I even came along. And I'm very grateful for you for standing strong. Thank you very much, President.
Find out a lot of secrets that have been maybe kept from us, but he's going to come up with some solutions to some big problems. So,
Could you please explain why this administration is making a show going after the military-industrial complex? I don't remember anything like this during the election. It seems like the Republican base won't support it. They're not. They're not. I'd be shocked if they actually did. Okay, virtually everything they've done thus far is not about undermining the American military-industrial complex at all. If you look at where they're making cuts, it's shit like the NIH. Okay, they're not making cuts on anything. They're not making any cuts on. Like, think about it this way, chatters. They quite literally also sanctioned they signed off on additional weapons to Israel. That was one of the first initiatives that this administration has made. I can't think of something that is more wasteful in terms of spending.
When people actually hear what I think about vaccines, which is common sense, which is vaccines should be tested.
If they ever cut funding to the military, it will be for veterans, okay? They'll say that they're undermining, the American empire or whatever, or at least that is how it will get presented in mainstream news. But the only thing they'll ever cut is veterans, spending on veterans' health care, things of that nature. Spending on veterans' housing, veterans' health care, maybe even college. As far as like what they talk about in terms of like the American military is so wasteful and we have to cut it, that's just populist sentiment, okay? They understand that a lot of people recognize the American military as a incredibly costly initiative. But that's it.
Thank you, guys. Let's go. Quickly, please. Quickly, guys. Come on.
The only other thing that I can foresee them doing in terms of like military spending cuts, I think, would probably come in the form of what are they doing with the nose thing? That's weird. Would probably come in the form of like maybe hiring more private contractors and outsourcing existing military operations to mercenaries. That's it. I don't think that they would offer significant cuts to the military because the military is attached to the hip to the military industrial complex, and it's a massive sector. It's there's too much money to be made. Anyway, yeah, from here on out, anyone who wants to set healthcare policy for America needs to be able to bench press their body weight, pass the law Congress. First of all, RFK Jr. can't bench press his body weight. We saw how much his bench looked. We saw what his bench press looked like. And it's shocking. It's been shocking because I think so many people, even in the physical fitness industry, have been captivated by the way he looks and hasn't really looked into the functionality of RFK Jr.'s muscles. Because the irony, no, he's not Natty. He does TRT. He's Mr. TRT. Okay. The irony is that like when he was working out in jeans in this video and he did a bench press, he did an incline bench press with, I think, weight that is significantly lower than someone that looks like that would be able to put up, especially with all of the especially
this
with
is superficial.
What is this? Oh yeah, this reminds me that NL said he doesn't trust folks like you.
I don't trust any journalist with biceps that big. I don't think he's serving the people. I think he's serving his own vanity to some extent. I'm not saying you can't be jacked and be a good public servant. It's just something. It's a reason that I'd be watching Kitchen Nightmares instead of Restaurant Impossible. Chef Robert Irving is too fucking jacked for me to take his opinions on cooking seriously. His soul is divided between the passion of running a restaurant.
Wow. Oh, okay. So this seems like a direct shot fired in my direction from Canadians that I think are sitting on a lot of valuable land right now, looking to be annexed, looking to be liberated. Okay? I'm just saying, you should only hear out the political commentary of maybe bald and not super in shape commentators. Yeah. You know what? I was on board. I was on board with defending Canada from American annexation, and now maybe Canada's looking like it needs to be liberated from the treacherous grips, the treacherous throes of socialized medicine. Please, if you try to come near Canada, the first snowflake would take you out. You doubt the Peloton?
Passion of running a restaurant and the passion of taking steroids. Now, Gordon takes his shirt off every episode in Kitchen Nightmares. He's in good shape. He's obviously, I think he's showing off a little bit, but he's not like, you know, Hugh Jackman jacked. He's like middle-aged man who exercises jacked, okay? There's a difference between that and the vascularity of someone like a Chef Robert Irving.
This is a direct attack, comrades. This is a direct attack against the Hasanabi community. This is a direct attack against me, Hasan Piker. Okay, I am under attack. I'm under attack. I saw this already. I saw this earlier. Hasan stream titles be like, huge news, new Zelda, impending civil war. Yeah, we're going to war with the Lion of the North, okay? Double shots fired.